Emily Lopez, and I am a human rights advocate with the state of Arizona.
I am a person with a disability, specifically spina bifida, and I've been a friend of Brooks for at least a decade.
Tell everybody who I am. My name is Missy Farrington, and I am the minister of the Special Needs Ministry here at Highlands Church in Scottsdale, Arizona. And I am also Brooks' discipleship mentor, and I am her friend.
Jennifer Evans, and I'm the Ministry Relations Manager for Johnny and Friends Arizona. And one of the things I get to do is help churches better serve families living with disabilities.
When I think always assume competence, so I work in a role where I encounter people with serious mental illness on a daily basis. And a lot of people just assume because they're very sick that they're incapable of knowing what they want, of vocalizing it, of having any sort of ability to know what their life is about. And when I think about always assuming confidence, it's like you should never look at a person and assume that they don't know what they're talking about, because no matter what their disability is, and this has been true in all 10 years that I've worked as a disability advocate and now human rights advocate, and the way that I have felt consistently is that literally every person on this planet is competent. Now, it might look to different degrees depending on what the disability is as to how they communicate, or they might need a guardian, for example, or things like that. But at the end of the day, everyone knows what they want. Everyone has an idea of what they want their lives to look like. And, in my work environment, I grew up learning about the independent living philosophy, and that whole thing is about the independent living philosophy has to do with saying that people with disabilities are the experts in their own lives, meaning they're capable of making decisions, including decisions that you might not agree with. It doesn't mean that they're not competent. It doesn't mean they don't know what they're talking about. It just means that they think differently to you, and they're allowed to make mistakes and have human experiences the same way that you and I are. That doesn't change anything. Mm-hmm. And when you don't assume competence, you're depriving that person of human experiences. You're depriving them of an ability to live a full and fulfilling life, because you're assuming they're already, because of the way they talk or the way they look, or whether they have, I know I have spasms. I walk with a significant leg impairment, and I use a wheelchair a lot of the time, and people assume that I don't know what I'm talking about, and none of that's true. So I'm sorry, I went on for a little bit. That's a little tangent.
Word always, as in every single time. Assume. That's always a dangerous word because you know what it spells. But to me, is always assume competence means every single time go into an interaction with the expectation that they will surprise you with their ability to exceed your expectations.
That's awesome.
It's something that I am extremely passionate about, as you know. My friends, over the 30 years of working with so many individuals with such varying degrees of disabilities, one thing that seems to run outside of the community and sometimes even inside of the community is that people will meet someone with a disability and assume that means that they have an intellectual disability. And what I have come to discover is that most of my friends have thoughts and ideas and can create those thoughts and ideas in their minds, but may just have more trouble expressing those thoughts and ideas. It doesn't mean that they don't understand what we're saying or what is going on around them. They just are not able to maybe comment on it or verbally talk about the things that are going on around them. So if they can't verbally express themselves, then people will sometimes just assume they don't understand, which is wrong. I believe that my friends, our friends with disabilities understand the majority of what's going on around them. So when I meet someone who has a disability, I always assume that they understand me at the level of the age that they are and the maturity level that they are. So if I'm speaking with an adult with a disability, I talk to them and believe that they understand me just like I was talking to an adult without a disability. I believe that if we assume competence, that is a much better perspective to have than assuming incompetence, because really if we don't assume competence, if we don't assume that people understand what we are doing, is we're assuming they're incompetent, and that is, I believe, very damaging.
That I've learned is anytime I meet anyone that looks like they have a disability or not, just assuming that they can understand me and they're aware. And I think this taught me, even with children with autism that may be nonverbal, like they understand a lot, mostly more than we know. And so just always giving people that respect, I think it's such a great message. So I love that's your message of Miss Wheelchair Arizona. And I want to know, why aren't you wearing your crown?